What do you get asked most during your first appointments with clients? And I was like, we had quite a few questions that were very similar. So we put together first appointments, some things we get asked over text message or Instagram and stuff like that.
Questions we get asked, I would actually say there's probably in the realm of 15 questions we get asked a lot. These are the questions that everyone asks us. So let's just answer it now so you don't have to ever ask us again.
This is the Build Out West podcast with your host Tony Hyde from Evolution House and Land Specialists and Catherine Smith from Build Bright Builder Brokers.
If you guys are looking to build in WA or simply curious to see what's going on in building, you guys are in the right place. We're here to give insight with professionals in the game, coming to give the inside scoop. Episodes are uploaded weekly, so don't worry, we don't skip a beat and you won't either. Like, share, subscribe, sit back, relax, and let's go.
Hello and welcome to the Build Out West podcast with your hosts Tony Hyde
and Catherine Smith. How are we?
Good. Just getting pumped up, ready to go. Another great session.
Ooh.
Looking forward to this one.
It's a hot one.
It kind of just hit us in the face, like we were looking at topics to talk about, and it was like, what do you get asked most during your first appointments with clients? And I was like, geez, and we had quite a few questions that were very similar. So we put together first appointments, some things we get asked over text message or Instagram and stuff like that.
Questions we get asked, I would actually say there's probably in the realm of 15 questions we get asked a lot in all different ways, but it's basically the same question.
We'll put them together, yeah.
And I always say it's a red flag if people aren't asking these questions.
Yep.
But we have narrowed it down to our top 5 today. Okay.
So maybe like 3 questions and we're like, that's kind of the same one where we'll just answer it in a roundabout sort of way.
Yeah, and these are the questions that everyone asks us. So let's just answer it now so you don't have to ever ask us again. Okay. Now, the first one, of course, is Tony single, which I get every time. You know,
happily single. I'm not going down that road again.
Yeah, so I get that a lot and in our DMs. No, I'm kidding. But
no, you don't.
Watch out. He is single if you are interested. DM us. No, but
DM Catherine, she's in charge of all my dating for the rest of my life. I'm in such a mess of
I'm your hinge coordinator as we speak. But no, let's be serious. We're very serious people.
Yeah.
And
especially my dating life.
It's very dry at the moment. But all business aside, the first question we get, what do we do? What is our role?
What services do we provide? What do we offer? Yeah.
The whole thing. Where do we stand? You know? Go, Tony. What do you do?
What I do, I offer this. Now, basically, we're here to help the everyday client navigate the crazy world of building their own home. And we try and help in every area, whether it's helping with the finance, finding the right broker, finding the land, knowing where to look for land, knowing what land costs, knowing how to break down your budget, and then finding the right builder that suits you. Just because one builder's price says this doesn't mean it might be the right builder for you because you don't want double brick. And that's what we do. We go in the market. We're constantly networking. We're constantly looking for new builders, good builders. Some builders are really, really great, but they're just not the right time for you because they might be have too much on work or have too much work on. We know that stuff. Our contacts in there are pretty honest with us, so we know they'd be like, no, we don't want to. The good builders will tell us, don't go down with us just now. We need a couple of months just to get past over a couple of lumps, you know. And that's what we do really with that one. We'll help you manage and get the right deal for you so that you don't have to go and do all the legwork. We'll do it for you, you know. We can just send you stuff and then we can look at things when we're a bit more concise of what you want sort of thing, whether it's a display home or a bit of land and stuff.
The way I kind of word it to clients is my role in the journey is to liaise between all parties to make it as stress-free as possible. Yep. I'm working with the settlement agent, the finance broker, the land agent, and the builder. And they're essentially my major 4 parties that I am working together to make it cohesive and stress-free as possible. Yep. There are obviously other parties, let's say council and building inspectors and all the rest of it, and I also will manage them. So I oversee everything from like a bird's eye point of view to make sure from point A to point C is pretty much in alignment with what we're trying to achieve. So does that make sense?
Yeah, I can explain it same, but I call myself the little midfield general. So I sit in the middle of the park. Everything gets directed through me and then kind of filtered to the clients. The clients don't ever email, and I'll be like, that's fine. Yeah, you go ahead with that. No, I'll jump in here and just make sure there's nothing left field or right field. But also the builders use us to go, hey, can you talk to your client about this? We've got the repertoire or the rapport with the clients and we can help do it. So, and then we can also challenge on things. There'll be a lot of things that as a clients won't even see that we've done behind the scenes and challenging things that we don't agree with.
I just don't tell them. It's
Yeah,
easy
no,
that
no,
way.
because
Yeah.
they don't need to know. So, no, we do. I mean, we've got.
I know.
We've got
Don't even talk about it. Yeah.
Before we started here, we spoke about 3 or 4 different clients that we've helped, and they don't even know what we've done behind the
I
scenes.
know.
Sort of
It's
thing.
like, I saved them $8,000 and this and that, and I had to challenge this and whatever clause. But they're the things I do. Is obviously, it's just having that third eye over everything, is to make sure everything is done cohesively, but also above board in a lot of ways. So I guess I just control the situation for you and help you enjoy the experience.
Yeah.
Number 2 is, will you be managing the build?
So how we talk about managing the build, there's certain different ways. Managing the build, as per se, we're actually going to manage the build. No, we don't do that. That's not our job. Our job is to pick with the right builder that we know that will do the right job.
Correct.
On managing the build, because you will get a site supervisor.
Yes.
You will get a client liaison officer from the builder. Some builders are better at it than others, and we know that, and we'll maybe a little bit more involved with this builder because we need to be on top of it. Some builders, we can literally just let you go because they're so good at the customer service stuff. We know that, and that's what we'll do. But managing wise, we won't physically manage the actual build, if that's the question you're asking. Being involved in the build, maybe a little bit with regards to just any issues that would pop up or things that you're not happy with as a client or something the builder wants to talk. We'll be that little go-to person that will kind of help do it. Well, that's what I say anyway. And I do sometimes visit the client's builds and stuff like that and go through them and just have a look. And
just touch point.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically the site supervisor's role is to manage the tradies on site and to make sure the build's going well. They will then liaise to the client liaison in the admin side of the building company, who then liaises with the client and myself. Generally speaking, that should be a pretty smooth process. We generally manage a lot more on the administration side. So in terms of like quoting and sketching and planning and shire and financials and all that, we generally do a lot more focus before the build. During the actual build, the builder definitely has that swing of management to it. Although at the same time, we will still be in your corner if there's any issues that particularly mostly arise if there's a build inspector and there's sort of like a disagreement with something like that. We always will come and mitigate that situation.
Yeah. Yes. Especially when, if you went out and got your own building inspector and didn't use our recommendations and stuff, sometimes, building inspectors. There's one with Andrew Booth real early on. Have a chat and you'll understand why picking a really good building inspector, because he can sometimes cause more issue than it's worth. But again, anything like that comes up, we'll help definitely be in there in the trenches fighting for you guys, because that's what we want. And I've never had any real issues with any of my builders. Once we have a conversation, work it out, see where it's at, we get it sorted.
It's really more just making sure things are in writing so everyone's on the same page and then we can move forward pretty quickly. But it's just managing that and managing communication more so than anything at that time.
Yeah, definitely.
Third question always every person asks me is build time frames. How long will my build take? My builder said this. I talked to this builder. They said this time frame. Now, I will be very clear, and this is something people don't understand. Build timeframes, or when you see an advertisement for a build timeframe, is from slab, okay? So there are 2 sides of building. There's the administration side and then there is the actual build. So generally speaking, administration side can take anywhere between 3 months to 9 months. That is not taking into account your build timeframe. So people jump on shonky builders and they say, I've been building for 2 years when their slab was down 3 months ago. That's not how builders are calculating timeframes. Okay?
Well, I've also seen in some builders will put it there, we'll do a 9-month build time, which is great. They will build it in 9 months from slab down, but it takes them 3 or 4 months after admin to get you to slab down as well. Just be very careful about that stuff. Make sure you're asking that question. Whether it's right or wrong, it is what it is. But you want to make sure that they're getting there quicker. Right. The reason they can do the 9 months is because they stagger their build and stuff. Anyway,
yeah. So to answer the question is, it's going to depend on what we're building. So we'll do ballpark, okay? To answer the question, and we're not going to avoid the question. The answer is, if you're doing a basic floor plan with no changes from that particular builder, it should fit between 9 to 10 months, okay? Just a stereotypical estate build.
Usually backed with a 12-month guarantee.
Yeah, because obviously there is issues in terms of wet weather or logistics or freight or something like this, but usually it should stick to that 9 to 10 months build time frame. Anything that is a single dwelling custom 12 to 14 months, okay?
With no guarantee because it's out of their control with regards to the customization of it.
Yes. So anything more like that forever home or that custom infill work, that is sort of that 12 to 14 month time frame. Something a little bit more complex, anything with something like a rake ceiling or skilling roof, something like this. Again, you have certain tradies for that. I had one client, was it like 95% now is colorbond roofs. He really, really wanted tiling, tiled roof. That added an extra 2 months to his build time frame. I actually had to put that in his contract just because that tradie is so small now, is roof tiling, that in terms of time frames it actually blew out. So it is case by case, but generally speaking, very standard cookie cutter, 9-10 months, 12-14 months for custom single dwellings. If we're going up literally double stories, I would say roughly about 18 months. Townhouses pushing 15 months, depends which townhouse builder you use, to be fair. But what we're talking about is from slab. So a lot of the time people talk and they say, oh, it's taken forever. And then I actually look at their scheduling, and they actually had their slab down, not that long ago.
I mean, if you're lucky enough to
the journey can be longer, I know, is more when we're talking time frames, it's from slab.
If you're wandering down that road of battle axe blocks and things like that, that can become really different because it depends on what the site works are going to be done. If they're on a sloped and things like, you've got to put the backfill with sand, or you've got to put retaining walls. Again, your site works might take 2 months to get done, and then your slab and then that has to cure, then the slab has to go down, and that has to cure, and then you're looking at maybe 12, 14 months. I'd be having a good conversation with the builder, just get them to be kind of honest. They probably won't put you down a guarantee on that kind of build, but your good builders say, like, we're probably looking at about 14, 15 months. Once the slab's down and it's going, it'll be okay.
Yeah.
But it's getting there. It can be a little bit harder because there's a lot more stuff they have to do to make sure that is going to be there for the length of the build, right?
Now, people ask timeframes because they need to plan their life around their home, and I totally get that. What I always say to clients is the best time for accuracy in terms of timeframes is when we're doing lockup, or what we talk like internal completion, because that will be generally speaking sort of that 12 weeks to finish that off internally, because
absolutely.
We're not restricted on things like curing slabs or wet weather, things like that can obviously affect the timeframes of builds. It's really just the internal cabinetry and carpets and flooring and finishes, that kind of thing. So that is probably the best time to be as accurate, and it's usually about 3 months from that.
I would always try and work off worst case scenario. So if they're saying like 9-10 months, but it's a 12-month guarantee, work off the 12 months.
Yeah.
And if you get there a bit earlier, then, great, happy days. And I kind of touched on this. It's a real bugbear of mine at the moment, and it's a hard one to do because the builders aren't looking. But why do the builders not want to touch infill? So infill is like building behind an existing property in old established areas.
An inner city suburb or a mature suburb, yeah.
Battle axe blocks, the same infill battle axe, kind of the same sort of thing. And it's like, well, why do I want them? Just because there's a lot more work goes into it. It's not a case of when you go on a brand new estate, they've got like LDP and it's already done. So they built the local development plans. It's already developed for that area. Therefore, the builders have to stick to that plan. They can't really, and if they want to vary from it, they're not really allowed to.
Yeah.
And then all I have to do is get a building permit. So it's like I followed the LDP, the plans match. There's your building permit. And it's a lot quicker to get there.
Basically.
When you go to like the built up areas and stuff, the LDPs are probably falling away. It then comes down to R codes and then the Shire's development codes and all that, and that takes a lot longer. You got to go through council approval, building, planning, and there's a lot more to it. Costs a bit more money, couple of grand here, couple of grand there.
It's also a lot more time consuming for the builder. There's a more administration in the background. Of course, those infill jobs are, again, customized. What's happening now, we're in such a boom that builders are really cherry picking what they want to do. It is changing month by month which builders are doing infill, but we're finding it more and more restrictive. I'm going to say it's going to continue that way for a while, to be fair, purely because they go, we don't really want to go to planning. We really want the easier jobs. We don't want to do customs. And in terms of, again, let's say the site supervisor and tradies, they don't want to do one random job in Morley, one random job in Cannington, something random in Waterford. They really just want to go, let's go to the Alkimos pocket or the northeast corridor or whatever, and really just focus on that, where infill is obviously a little bit more bitsy, and just in terms of freight logistics and what have you, it's a little bit of
so much
more
easier to get the
hassle.
tradies in. There's more space. It's usually all tradies around them.
Yeah.
The noisy thing doesn't really matter as
The
much.
reality is no builder's desperate for work right now. That's the reality. So people go, another hot question is, can I have a discount? The answer is no, because no one's desperate for your build. I'll be very honest.
The margin they get from an infill build to greenfield estate are pretty much the same, but the pain in the arseness of
the technical term,
there's a lot more to it. That's definitely technical. The pain of arseness is definitely a lot harder to do.
The headache of it,
because there's little things like when they go for planning for council approval, they say up to 90 days. Some of them. And it could be 2 weeks, but it could be right to 90 days. There's no way of telling because the council run by their own rules.
And to be honest, we're in such a boom that everything is 90 days now.
Yeah, just deal with it. Yeah.
It's literally 89 days, and then you get the email of planning approved. So that's essentially the answer is when we're going infill for 2024, I would argue 2025 in terms of predictions. Yeah. Those pricing has a premium to it as well, because right now that market is more and more small. So the builders in that space can charge kind of what they want in a way, because the demand is high, but the pool is small.
Well, I'll give you an example of the infill. I've got one that's a knockdown subdivide, build in the front, we're going to build in the back, and we're just getting to almost the build in the front. But you know what delayed it by 2 months? Getting it knocked down.
Yeah.
The demo team. So it's completely out of our control, the builder's control. We're just sitting there waiting. So yeah, it was a bit of a pain, that one, but yeah, we're nearly there. We'll be on site in about 6 weeks, I think.
Yeah, cool. All right, last question.
What are the average prices build?
How much does it cost to build a house? You know what? This is going to be great.
How long's a piece of string?
No, look, the answer is how long is a piece of string is the actual answer. But ballpark, and this is a very grey ballpark, because I always want to, because sometimes people are super unrealistic. So I just want to go generalness.
The kind of average house we see that come across our desk is like a 4x2 with a theatre, right? That's really what we see. A standard
4x2 in Baldarvis, Alkimos, whatever. You're going to sit anywhere between 350K and 400.
Does that include site works?
Yeah, most should do.
And that's fully loaded.
Yeah, with your aircon and your stone bench tops and what you would expect for a family proper home, I would
no super extras either. That's just like
nothing crazy, but it will just be 350 to 400. You should be able to get your nice family home now. If we want to do like a 3x2, like a smaller house, I would say low 300s would be the budget.
Yeah.
And then in terms of townhouses are not cheap now. We're looking in the 500,000s for a townhouse. So this comes up a lot because what happens is people go, oh, I found a cheap block because it's a townhouse block, and the block's 100 grand less than the single dwelling block next door. So they go for the townhouse, but then I have to tell them that it's actually significantly more expensive to build that townhouse, and then they end up being a little bit disheartened. So if you are looking in the townhouse range, definitely budget in the 500s for that proper townhouse home.
And then
double stories, again, how long is a piece of string? What are we building? But if you're talking like general double story, typical home that you would have in an estate or like a generally nice area,
like
nothing crazy like a City Beach custom or anything like that.
Living area downstairs with one guest bedroom and then the 3 bedrooms, master included upstairs, sort of thing, like block on block, like up down.
Yeah, I would say like easily mid-6s.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
And that's with really any builder. What we're finding now in this market, it's not a price thing. Everyone is basically in the same space. So if you're like, I want that stereotypical, 4-bedroom home with a theatre or study nook, whatever, 350 to 400, you would get something good. If you want something a little bit more bougie, in the 4s, sort of that Dell Alcock level, something a bit more
when you start going
forever home.
Yeah, when you start getting a little fancy stuff, when you start putting
400-500 would be the norm. It's not particularly controversial to see 500 grand 4-bedroom home now, single story. Yeah. But if you're looking sort of that first home buyer market, that mid-3s to high 3s.
Again, with the size of the block, and you can do a 3x2 and it will get a little bit cheaper, but like and we'll know this from like a 7.5 metre frontage, like a little cottage build, right? And then you jump to the 12.5. Or not as, that 7.5 to 12.5 is a bigger jump than the 12.5 to the 15 metre frontage. Because at the end of the day, longer walls are easier to throw up than all the nooks and crannies. So, the price of having the builders there on site are already included. The extras come from just, the extra bricks they have to lay for an extra 2 days there. So that's how it works out. So when people give you square metre prices, go very gentle on it because it's not set in stone. But generally, a square metre rate will cover having two bathrooms and one kitchen. You put another kitchenette in, you're adding another 10 grand on the price. So if it doesn't work, like, oh, you said 1,500 a square metre, whatever it would be at the time, that doesn't mean you have another kitchen in there. That's already included, right? Because you've got wet areas and all that stuff. So just be very mindful. This would be more on your standard 4x2 with a theatre on a square block, essentially. Squarish block, yeah.
So I hope that answers your question. So generally speaking,
we don't know. We have no idea.
It depends what you're building is the answer.
Yeah.
But if most people are sticking, I would say, like normal house, 400 grand.
Yeah, I get it a lot, and it's like, oh, it's really hard. We try, and that's basically the same answer we give the clients. It's like this, and they're like, "Whoa, I don't know exactly." So let's just go through the process. It costs nothing to do it. Have a look through, and you can see where you sit, right?
Yeah. So I hope you liked our answers, but feel free to ask me if we have an appointment. I'll answer them again in a bit more detail if you need.
Or DM us through YouTube or on the TikTok channel, Build Out West, whatever you want to do. Follow us on TikTok, please subscribe. We'd love subscribers. The more and more subscribers we get, we want to get up there because it really does help us keep this channel running and keep what we think is impartial advice and what we do out there. That's why we're there to help everyone. Back the builders, but also back the clients. We want to make sure that everyone's transparent enough that we can do this, and this helps us do it. I think you've seen it by the amount of guests that we get on, and the bigger we grow, the bigger guests we can get on here. Let's reach for some building company owners and have get some tough questions to them. That'd be good.
I thought I was your guest.
Well, you know what I mean.
Come on.
You can't be a guest on every single 30 odd episodes we've done.
I know. All right. Thank you for listening and good night.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
This is the Build Out West podcast with your host Tony Hyde from Evolution House and Lawn Specialists and Catherine Smith from Build Bright Builder Brokers.
If you guys are looking to build in WA or simply curious to see what's going on in building, you guys are in the right place. We're here to give insight with professionals in the game, coming to give the inside scoop. Episodes are uploaded weekly, so don't worry, we don't skip a beat and you won't either. Like, share, subscribe, sit back, relax, and let's go.